Thank you very much for joining us today. This is we've been doing a series of webinars this year about sort of like the fundamental aspects of digital marketing, and SEO is obviously a huge part of that. SEO stands for search engine optimization. I'm sure you all realize that. We're going to be doing 45 minutes roughly about this today. Now, if you were to do SEO, an in-depth SEO webinar, it could take you about 3 weeks to go through everything you need to know. But we're going to try and touch on all the main topics in SEO and try and give you a good understanding of how it works, what it is, in the next 45 minutes or so. And you can send us a question whenever you like. Okay, so the topics we'll be covering will be what SEO actually is. So it's a brief history. How quality SEO drives business. Simple things you can do to help to maximize your SEO, and live changes. So I'll be doing some live changes here, which hopefully will sort of help to illuminate some of the topics we're talking about. About us, a little bit about us. My name's Mick. We are Heartbeat Digital. We are a digital marketing agency. We do a lot of our work with healthcare clients in Australia, but we also work in other industries as well. We are running competition today with this webinar. So you can, if you are attending the webinar, you are in the running to win a website analytics deep dive and strategy session with us. So that involves a document that we'll give you, plus a meeting with us to go over everything about your website and your digital marketing. And there's one of the other prizes is an Uber Eats voucher to the value of $50 at a restaurant of your choice. So that's who we are, and that's what we're offering today. And thank you very much for joining once again. So without further ado, what actually is SEO? Search engine optimization, is basically changes, edits, additions, improvements to a website to make it easily found online without having to pay. So when we talk about SEO, we're talking about unpaid listings, usually on Google. I mean, there's also other search engines, but we focus mainly on Google because it has nearly all of the market. You can imagine SEO as a map for search engines like Google, showing them exactly what your website is about. It's like opening a business in a busy shopping area and using big signs so that more people can find it. Using words that match what people search for and arranging a website in a logical and neat fashion to increase its online visibility. Now, if you can do all these things, this brings more visitors, attention, and potential customers to a website, which is ultimately the goal of SEO, is to draw more people to your website, get you more customers. Some simple components of a web page for SEO. So you've probably heard people talk about keywords before. Now, keywords, we're going to go into some detail in this webinar, but basically keywords are any words that people type into a search engine to find your service. Now, we're not talking about your business name here. We're talking about the service you offer. For example, doctor near me, skin checks in Eltham, for example. So keywords are a huge part of SEO. We'll go into more depth soon. Meta descriptions. These are the piece of content that appears below your search engine listing when you actually appear in the Google search. Links. So links, both internal and external, are a huge part of SEO. This is a little screenshot here. You can see all the things in pink there are links. Obviously, any link from an external website is seen as a vote of confidence for your website. So the more links you can get to your website, the better. And also there's image SEO and We used stuff called alt text and title tags to make sure that your images are optimized as well. So you can also, it's not only good for the normal Google search, but you can appear in image search in Google, which is actually a very big and well-used part of Google search. Okay, so just going on now to a brief history of SEO. So obviously internet's been around for a while now, and in the early 1990s, it was pretty hard to find anything you were looking for. Websites appeared with no particular order. People realized they needed a way to find what they were looking for. So very early on, we had in the 1990s, we had those search engines that, well, Yahoo used to be, pretty much the biggest search engine in the world and the most successful. We had Lycos, Alta Vista, all these old ones, Magellan. So they made the first efforts to make a search engine that kind of put things in some kind of order. And early websites, tried to use tricks to game the system, basically. So we came up to the early 2000s then, and we call that keyword chaos. So what you used to do in the early 2000s is you just stuffed a website full of keywords, even if it didn't make any sense. And that would mean that you could easily game the system and you would appear high at the top of the search results, even though all you've done is written one word, doctor, 10,000 times on the website. Then we get to the mid 2000s where the search engines get a lot smarter and they start looking not just at keywords, but also how useful and trustworthy a website is. And the search results getting better and better. In the late 2000s, it's the battle of content. So it's quality content. Websites learned that they needed quality, helpful content to appear in search results, and it wasn't just about tricks anymore. And now today, modern SEO makes websites easy to understand for people and search engines. It focuses on quality content. This helps website visibility and helps people find what they want faster. So back in the old days, you could use a lot of tricks, and pretty much all of those tricks have been snuffed out now. Also, I would say that the use of links, the importance of backlinks to your website is less important these days as well, because that was a part of the system which was easily exploited. And you could just go and buy 10,000 links from dodgy websites and you would appear higher, but that's less importance in these days. But that's my opinion, and that's not necessarily backed up by Google, but that's what I've seen. So that's a brief history of SEO. Now, how does quality SEO actually help your business? Quality SEO acts like a guide helping more people find your website. When your website appears higher in search results, more people visit and learn about your business, and that converts to customers. So here's a few stats about SEO in 2023. 93% of global online traffic comes from Google. So when you hear us talking about SEO and stuff, we'll nearly always talk about Google. I mean, I know there are other search engines. I know there's Yahoo still exists. Bing is still out there, DuckDuckGo, some other sort of fringe players, but really when it comes down to it, it's Google, and people don't even necessarily go and type in your web address, even though they might know your web address. They will probably still Google you. SEO drives 1,000% plus more traffic than organic social media. So it's very important to have a good Facebook page. I mean, we're huge on social media here at Heartbeat Digital. It's great to cover every single base, but in the end, it's SEO and the search engines that will drive way more traffic to your website than social media will, because those social media platforms, remember, they don't necessarily want you to leave their platform. If you're on Facebook, Facebook wants you to stay on Facebook. Same goes for Instagram and the other ones. This is an interesting stat here that I think people aren't necessarily aware of. The average page in the top 10, so that's the first page of Google results, is 2+ years old. Now, This is important to know because if you have a brand new domain, it's very hard to get it to rank organically in Google. It just, domain age is definitely a ranking factor. So don't expect miracles in the first 12 months. It's a sad truth, and we have a lot of people we work with wondering when their website's going to rank. And we try our best to rank people in the first 6 months, but it can be very difficult. But if you don't do any active SEO on it, it's pretty much impossible. Now, here's another scary stat that would a sad stat for those people who don't have their website on the first page. It's 92% of people, 92% plus of people who search on Google do not get past page 1. So if you are on page 2 plus of Google, you're going to have a hard time getting people to click on your website. And I think the top result gets something like, it changes all the time, but something like 20% plus of all clicks. Some new people have joined, by the way. Hi, welcome. Don't worry if you missed the first few minutes of this webinar. It'll all be on YouTube and in Zoom, probably close of business tomorrow. Any questions you have, please just put them in the Q&A box there, and we'll try and answer them as best as we can. We're just going over some very preliminary stuff so far, just outlining what SEO is. I'm sure most of you have some kind of understanding of it. And now we're just going into how does quality SEO actually help your business. So in practice, and also for those who've just joined, we're going to do some practical demonstrations in the second half of the webinar. So not too far away, I'm going to show you some of this stuff that I'm talking about and show you how we would actually approach it in a real world situation. So good SEO practices lead to higher search engine rankings. So when someone types in plumber near me and you're a plumber in that area, you want to appear as the first result, or as high as possible. The higher you return in that result, the higher the click-through rate. You see that referred to as a CTR. That just means how many people see your listing and click on it. And then as a result of that, you get more organic traffic. When we say organic, we're not talking about vegetables here. We're talking about unpaid clicks, which results in more organic traffic, website visitors, you get increased brand awareness and exposure, then you get higher conversion rates. Now, if you've seen any of our webinars, you'll know that conversion rates and conversions are one of the really, really big things that agencies like us focus on, but we can't. So a conversion is when someone goes to your website and takes an action that means they want to get in touch with you or make a booking, anything that's means that they've come to the website and they've been persuaded to take an action to get in touch with you, basically. So a conversion is a really, really, really important thing. We have a webinar. You can maybe Jules can send that in the you can put the YouTube link in there, Jules, maybe if you can do that to our conversion webinar.
Sure thing.
But we can't get conversions if we don't have any people coming to the website in the first place. So we need traffic to get the conversions. You get a conversion, that's a lead generated, and that means more leads and sales for you and business growth and success. So all these things are linked. And one of the great things about SEO is basically SEO is the modern white pages, yellow pages, but it's not alphabetical. It's merit-based. So it's a meritocracy. And that, I think, is a pretty cool thing because it means if you try hard and do it well, that means you can get to the top. Doesn't matter how much you pay. Google Ads is a different thing, but for organic SEO, if you do it well, you can beat massive competitors. Doesn't matter if you could beat Coca-Cola. If you put enough effort into SEO, you could beat Coca-Cola for some keywords. So simple things that will help you maximize your SEO. Now, again, this could be a 2.5-week webinar, but we've got 45 minutes. So we're going to touch on these things really, really briefly, but hopefully they give you a good understanding. So keywords, again, we'll speak about them a bit more later, but you need to naturally incorporate keywords in your content that relate to your business. Now, the really simple guide to keywords that we have is, what is your service and where do you provide it? For example, if you are a electrician in Darwin, then I would be putting on your page, definitely the word electrician, because that's what someone's going to be searching for. And I would put in on that page, Darwin. So in its most simple form, what the service is, where you provide the service. And those keywords in the modern day cannot be just stuffed onto the web page 2 million times, so that doesn't work anymore. What you need, which leads on to our next point, is quality content. Quality content is the best way to get up the rankings and get more traffic, and that's becoming more and more apparent, and links are becoming less and less important as we go on. Titles and descriptions, clear, descriptive, keyword-rich titles and meta descriptions for each page. This is important for how you appear on the actual Google listing, and I'm going to show you some examples in a minute. So links, as I've said, links in content that lead to relevant pages. This helps. So this is more about internal linking. Internal linking within your website from one page to another has become very important. And it helps search engines understand the structure of your website. So everything you can do to help these search engines, which, they're not human beings, they're robots basically, who come and look at your website and read the code, anything you can do to help them will help your site rank better. That leads us to schema markup. Now, schema markup is more of an advanced SEO component. It's special code that's added to help search engines understand content easily. Makes it easier to display results, use rich snippets and voice search and more. Now, schema, we can spend a whole hour on that, but basically you will probably need an SEO expert to help you with schema markup, but it's an important thing to get right and can help you beat your competitors. This is kind of a no-brainer now, but mobile-friendly design is, of course, incredibly important in this day and age. It's also important to understand that the mobile search engine for Google and the desktop search engine are two distinct search engines. So you can be ranking very well on desktop and very poorly on mobile, and vice versa. So both those things are possible. And if your website doesn't display well on mobile, which I would hope all of them would by now, then you can find yourself punished on mobile. And we look at the analytics of the websites we manage, which is a lot. And some websites get, 85% plus of all their traffic comes from mobile. So you really need to get your mobile house in order. Page speed. So if you have a website that loads slowly, you will be punished. Faster sites just rank higher. So you need to do as much as you can to make your website load as fast as possible. Optimize the images. We've got an image optimization webinar, Jules. Maybe shove the link into the chat there as well. Use browser caching, fast hosting provider. Look, there's a million things you can do to speed up your website, but probably one of the biggest things is if you have a crappy host, there's only so much you can do. You need to make sure that you have an SSL certificate. So you need to have that HTTPS because secure websites rank higher. So if I click on this link here, I'm sure you've all seen this before. So I'm just going to leave this presentation for one moment. We click on this link here. This is what a bad SSL website looks like. And that is not what you want people to see when they come to your website, because that looks terrible. So the old days we could have HTTP, that's over. Okay, back to the presentation. Now, social media does play a role in SEO. You can share content on social media. Social media doesn't directly impact SEO, but it can drive a little bit of traffic and engagement, and also provide something called social proof. But it doesn't. Yeah, if you have a great Facebook page that has a million followers and all this great content and stuff, that doesn't actually help your website directly. It actually probably means that your Facebook page will rank higher than your website. And really, most conversion activity will happen on a website. That's not necessarily 100% true for all businesses, but most times that is true. Okay, so that's the simple things you can do to help your SEO. Now, things that hinder SEO, it's not brain surgery. It's pretty much the inverse of what everything we just spoke about. So poorly optimized content, so no relevant keywords, the content's low quality, it doesn't provide value to users. If it's just, clearly just generated from an AI program like ChatGPT and uses Americanized spelling and is not actually related to what you do, then that is not going to help you. It's amazing to us how many people just don't have the name of the, particularly if it's a bricks and mortar business, they don't even have like the name of their suburb on their website. So, or where you provide the service, particularly for bricks and mortar stuff, it's very important what your service is, where you provide it. If you have a slow page loading speed, then that's going to negatively impact your SEO. We touched on that in the previous slide. So basically, if it's slow, fix it, because you are going to get punished if you don't, by Google and by your users. I know myself, if I go to a website that takes a while to load, I leave, because people are incredibly impatient these days. Non-mobile friendly design obviously hurts you with your users and Google as well. Technical issues. So technical SEO is a whole world unto itself, and there's, again, not to repeat myself, but you could talk about this for years, but things that are pretty simple to fix, like broken links, duplicate content if you've got the same content on multiple pages, improper redirects. So this is something that's pretty simple to do if you have a website designer who you work with. If you take a page off your website, say, for example, you're a GP clinic and one of your doctors leaves, and you go into your website and you delete that page, what you need to do is you need to put a redirect there and redirect that old URL to a new URL, maybe just to the team page, for example. Because if you just delete a page and it's still on Google's index and Google goes there and looks at it and there's nothing there, then that's not good for you. So you need to regularly audit and fix these issues. Another thing we haven't really touched on yet, though, is local SEO. So local SEO is basically the world of SEO that revolves around something called your Google Business Profile. Now, your Google Business Profile is that bit on the right-hand side if you're on desktop, or at the top if you're on mobile, that has your listing with the reviews, the map, all that stuff, your address. Now that, if you're going for, again, bricks and mortar stuff that's local, someone types in best hairdresser near me, what you want to do is you want to appear very high in that, we call it the local 3-pack, and make sure you're definitely on the map, because people definitely use that. I know everyone sitting out there, all your participants now, you all definitely used someone's Google My Business, or sorry, Google Business Profile. And that's something that agencies like us, or certainly our agency, we take that very seriously and optimize your Google Business Profile, because there's some really, really great wins to be made there. So do not ignore it. I know Google reviews are very, very controversial issue, particularly for medical clinics, but you've got to be in that game. So that's just a brief overview. I know I've got some more people joining up here. Don't worry if you missed the first half of the webinar. We will be putting this on YouTube and on Zoom. You'll be sent a link in the next 24 hours. So, so keywords. keywords. What does a keyword actually mean? So it's a big world of keywords, but in the simplest form, the keyword is what someone types in to a search engine, normally Google, to find your business, your service. Now, people do this at very different quantities, and every human being searches differently. Some people use voice search. Some people write, long search queries. Some people write short search queries. And there are a lot of software solutions out there that people like us use to try and find what are the best keywords that we want to optimize a web page or website for. So we have one here, we have a lot of medical clinics clients, so we go, a lot of them provide iron infusions. So we would use some software that we have. We use a software called Ahrefs, but there's a lot of different softwares out there. And what they do is they provide the best possible guess, I guess you would say, estimates of what is the best keyword, and they use historical data to get this. So if we were going to make an iron infusion page for one of our clients, we would look into some of our software, and we would say, yep, iron infusion is a keyword. The difficulty is 12, which is not too difficult, and it has a national search quantity, that's just in Australia, of 11,000 searches per month. So we would say, okay, that is definitely a phrase that we think is worth pursuing, because when people want an iron infusion, that's what they normally search for. So another thing that people search for, which is essentially the same thing, is an iron transfusion. And you can see the keyword difficulty is higher and the volume is way less. This GB here means global volume, by the way. So we would take this piece of information and we would go back to the client, and we'd say, okay, is an iron transfusion the same thing as an iron infusion? They say yes or no. And if it is, we would still try and incorporate that keyword into the page a little bit, but our actual focus would be iron infusion. And we would make sure that our page had was optimized for the term iron infusion, and then for the suburb. So iron infusion Fitzroy, iron infusion Balmain. So you can see here just a little bit of just scaled up. You can see that this graph here, things have things have trends. Search terms have trends. So home design here in June 2021, home design was being searched for a lot, and then in May 2023, or before that, it was being searched very little. Now that's probably got something to do with coronavirus. I don't know, but you can see that we can get a lot of information. It's a medium difficulty word. The cost per click is 70 cents. But I'm going to go into a little bit more keyword stuff in 5 minutes, but that's a rough idea of how we look at keywords. Now, and a really important thing to note is here that not all keywords or key phrases are created equal. Some of them are incredibly competitive to rank for, and some of them, particularly what we call long tail key phrases, can be quite easy to rank for. So it all comes down to how many other people, what the market is, and how much competition there is for these keywords, how valuable they are. So here's an example of one of our successes, I guess. We're not showing what the client is, but a lot of our clients do skin checks. Skin check near me, we've ranked this client first. They're fourth on mobile, so that's something we have to remedy, obviously. And the volume for that search term Australia-wide is 8,100 per month, and that's obviously a really good, valuable keyword to look at, and that's got this client a lot of business. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to first off have a sip of water. going to leave this presentation for a moment. I'm going to show you some examples of how we would tackle these things in a real world situation. So we have a fictional website here, the Bathurst Family Medical Clinic. And what they are doing, they've got a new doctor there and they want to open a travel clinic. Somewhere you go, before going overseas, and you get all your shots and do all that stuff. So that's something they want to do. They come to us and say, we want to make a travel clinic. We go, great. You're already a client, but they've got a new doctor, and that doctor does travel stuff. So the process that we would follow would look something like this. First thing we would do is so they're in Bathurst, which is in New South Wales, by the way. First thing we would do is I would go to Google. So the first port of call is always Google. And I would look for travel clinic Bathurst, travel doctor Bathurst, and I would have a look at who our competitors are, basically, and see that what we would need to do to outrank these people. So I've put in, I've already done travel clinic Bathurst, and now I'm doing travel doctor Bathurst, and I can see it's always giving me the same results. And this business here, Busby Medical Practice, is ranking #1 consistently for everything around these keywords. So I'm going to have a look at that website, and I'm going to see if I think we can beat them. All right. You can see this, Jules, yeah? You can see the website?
I can, yep.
Cool. Everything's making sense?
Yeah, it is, Mick. Yep. Actually, Mick, can I just stop you there? Can you just explain cost per click? It came up a few moments ago, 70 cents.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Cost per click. So that's talking about Google Ads. I know we're talking about organic SEO today, but if a cost per click will be, I can't remember what it was for, but it was for, was it skin checks? And it was like 70 cents per click. So that's kind of another topic that will always be given in all your keyword research. You'll always be shown how much a click costs if you were to go down the Google Ads path. And it's also a good indication of how competitive that keyword is. If a cost per click, sometimes they're $50 a click in certain industries, then it means that you're going to have to work very hard to rank organically for that. All right, so back to here. Busby Medical Practice. They're killing it in Bathurst. They're the kings of travel medicine over there. I come to this website and I look at it and I go, you know what? I think we can beat it. You reckon we can beat it, Jules? I think we can beat this. So I would be coming to this and I would be ultra confident that we can beat this. I look at it, I do a little bit of Google inspect here. What do we got going on? We've got it. Yeah, it's an H1. Okay, that's good. They've got an H1, which is a technical SEO thing. And we've got what looks to me about 300 words of content. A link here that goes to a Microsoft Word document, travel clinic newsletter, email address, yeah, and not much content. So personally, I think, and there's no real call to action. I don't really know what to do. Oh no, down here, mate. What? Okay, that's fine. If you're here from Busby Medical Practice, you're doing great. Obviously, it's great stuff. But I think that if we were hired to beat this website for that phrase, I think we could do it. I look again, I go back to search results. Oka is there. I know Oka Health. There are a lot of clinics around Australia. Travel medicine is there. What are they doing? Hopefully that's an H1 tag. I'm just using the inspector here. No, that's an H2. So they don't even have an H1 tag on this page, which is a big no-no. An H1 tag is that tells all search engines what the page is about. So this one has GP services as the H1, which is incorrect markup for this page. If we're trying to aim for travel medicine, travel doctor, travel clinic. So I'm going to go back now after I've checked out the competition. So go back into my presentation here. And I'm not going to do the keyword research in front of you. Oh, sorry. This is the competitor analysis. I've just showed you what I did live. Basically, type into Google and go from there. Now, the keyword research, I'm not going to do this live because it takes too long, but what I've done is I've gone to one of our keyword research tools, and I've done some research, and I've found that the search volume on Google in Australia is actually way higher for travel doctor than it is for travel clinic. Okay, so 3,600 searches a month for travel doctor, only 880 for travel clinic. Travel clinic near me gets some good stuff, so I would use all this information here and make sure that I make a page that incorporates travel doctor as the most important thing and the location I'm doing it. And then I'll incorporate all these keywords in there as well. And I would make travel clinic not as important as I thought it would have been before. Because you can see here, people search for travel doctor more. So all that said, I'm going to get out of the presentation again, and I am going to go back to our website and show you what we would do. So here's our fictional, imaginary website for. We've done this. I built this one for a previous webinar, which you can look at on our YouTube channel. But this is Bathurst Family Medical Centre. It doesn't exist. It's not a real place. And our doctor has just joined up, and we go, okay, travel clinic, great. Can you provide me, doctor, with some information about what you do with the travel stuff? And they go, yeah, sure. Oh, of course I can do that. And they provide this content. And we go, ooh, I'm not sure that's going to beat the Oka Health and the Busby. What would we do? So as the SEO agency that provides help for this client, we would construct a page, a new page. And our page would look something like this. So we would have travel doctor Bathurst as our H1 tag. Your trusted travel medicine clinic in Bathurst. So we're telling that search engine absolutely everything it needs to know in the first little bit of the page. And because we're confident that we're going to get some good action here. Actually, I'm going to refresh this. We're going to even put some calls to action above the file. I'm just going to refresh because I made some changes. Wait, I have to update. I'm going to take you inside the page itself at the moment. We're going to even put a call to action at the top of the page, just in case people have been convinced by the first 3 seconds that they've seen this page that they want to make a booking. And we're going to make that incredibly obvious. Book online or call us to make an appointment. Great. Now we have an image which has been SEO'd with alt tags, etc. We have a picture, travel medicine, so we're getting that keyword in there as well. Travel medicine. Have a picture, a fictional picture of the clinic, and we go down. We break it into very skimmable, broken up by subheadings, content, expertise in travel medicine. These are all the reasons you would choose this clinic. Again, calls to action, the services they actually offer, broken up into nice little cards that are very easy to scan and also give Google all the hints it needs. Contact us, book online, make an appointment. So if we had an actual clinic in Bathurst that did this stuff, I would be extremely confident that page would outrank our competitors in a pretty short amount of time. Now, going into the actual editor here, which is, I've done this this draft using something called Elementor, and we use Yoast SEO. There are other SEO things you can use, but we use SEO. So I'm going to go in here. This is somewhere you can preview what your actual listing in the search engine result, they call it SERP, the search engine result page will look like. And what we want to do here is make sure we make as much use of this title tag as we can and as much use of this meta description as we can as well. So I've already done these. Now, this is maybe not a work of incomprehensible genius, but I needed to get travel Dr. Bathurst into the title tag, and I also wanted travel clinic. So my title tag, which is probably something we would rewrite a number of times because that's what SEO people do, is travel Dr. Bathurst enjoy safe travels with our travel. So that's getting my keywords in there. And then my meta description is your trusted travel medicine clinic in Bathurst, New South Wales, expert pre-travel care and vaccinations for safe adventures. So the meta description is trying to be persuasive, compelling. Click here. We have a featured image of someone in an exotic place going on travel. You can preview what it looks like on your mobile result, and you can preview what it looks like in the desktop result. So that in real world situation, now I could have submitted this to Google and I could have tried to rank for this, but I think that would be, Google would have got it cranky at us in the end because we're a digital marketing agency and we shouldn't be trying to rank for nonsense keywords. But we have gone through that exact process, 100% that exact process for real clients of ours. And that's why we're able to rank them for skin check near me as number one. And we do that multiple times. Now, the thing that I should mention is that, these guys here, we haven't beat them, but I think we could. But Bathurst is not a huge place, and there seems to be only a few people doing it. Now, as I said before, not all keywords are created equal. So if that was in the middle of Melbourne or Sydney travel clinic, then you're going to have a lot more difficulty, and it'll probably take you more effort, more than one page, would take more time. But if you work on it, it is possible to beat huge competitors. Jules, it might be worthwhile now dropping a link in there. So we did a page the other day just to show you what some search results can be for. I wrote an article, Why is Digital Marketing Important and Useful for Healthcare Businesses? So Jules, you want to drop that in the chat and people can actually search that on Google themselves and see what actually comes up.
Sure, yep, it's in there, but I'll put it in there again.
Yep. We wrote an article the other day. So this is what we call a long tail search. It's very long, but it's got some key sort of things in there, digital marketing, healthcare. So we were trying to write an article for this webinar and for our website in general, which would get us some visibility, hopefully. So where's that appearing for you, Julie, in Adelaide? Where do we come up? So for me, we're second, okay. For me, after this big, what we want to do is getting this thing up here. You can see this. This is a featured snippet, and obviously SeattleNewMedia.com. I'm not sure why they're coming up, but they've got the featured snippet. We want that, but we only published the page, I think, 3 days ago. So that's how quickly you can get on Google. We wrote and produced that article on Monday, I believe. Yeah, and we've got second or third result on Google in a very short amount of time. So it is possible, and it's a great way to kickstart your SEO. So if we just typed in digital marketing agency Melbourne, I'm sure we don't appear number 3. We don't. I know we don't because we haven't put in the time and effort to rank for that search term. But if you, and this is the page we wrote actually and produced, by the way, so you can see it's over 1,000 words. It has a lot of images. It has keywords. It has everything. So you can probably have a look at that yourself. But that's what we consider a good page, and obviously it's ranking number 2 on Google already in a short amount of time, so it's great. So if you are up against big competitors targeting long tail keywords that may not have a huge search quantity, but that you can rank for them pretty quickly, and you can capture everyone who searches for that or something similar to that, and you gain trust with Google, and then you can start hunting down the bigger keywords. Now, if you've never had a #1 SEO ranking before. It's a great feeling. But actually, yeah, I can show you. I wrote an article on Friday about something that gets your #1 ranking now. Jules, do you want to put into the chat there? So I want you to go to Google now, run out there and type in, what's the search term, Jules? Can left-handed kittens play ping pong? That's it. Can left-handed kittens play ping pong? And there we are. Boom. #1 result. And I believe, yeah, we've got the #1 result in images as well. So when you talk about doing image SEO, it's important to make sure you don't forget about it, because you can get your image there, and a lot of people search images first thing they do. And there we go. So obviously that's just a demonstration of, no one searches for that term, which is what I said earlier. Not all keywords are created equal. But if you go through and do the processes we've talked about, you can get #1 rankings for not nonsensical things as well. Can left-handed kittens play ping pong? I think it's a question on everyone's lips, but that's just a way to demonstrate that it's possible. And then you do that, particularly if you're up against big competitors, and the more content you have on your website that's relevant, authoritative, trustworthy, you can start getting amazing results with SEO. And it's not just vanity. It results in people clicking on your website, making them aware of you, leading to conversions, and making your business grow. So I hope that made some sense to you all. Just to wrap up. Search engine optimization, SEO, means changes, edits, additions, improvements to website to make it more easily found online. There's more to it than keywords, meta descriptions, technical points, coding, mobile optimization more. It's a huge topic. Here's probably an important point everyone needs to understand as well. SEO results can be very volatile. The Google algorithm updates multiple times a month and can cause big fluctuations in your search engine results. Sometimes you'll be riding high at #1 or #2. Google makes an update, and all of a sudden you're down at the bottom of the first page. Now, sometimes those are things that you do not need to react to, because it's very often self-correcting. But sometimes Google will make such massive changes that your SEO agency will need to take action and figure out what on earth has happened and fix it. Even simple SEO efforts can make a difference. And if you don't make any effort and a new competitor comes in, they are trying, and they are actually making an effort on SEO, you will find yourself absolutely demolished in the search engine rankings by that new competitor in no time. We've had it many times. People have been just living the high life, ranking #1, no other competitor in town, everyone clicks on them, and then all of a sudden 1 or 2 people come in and they outrank you easily if they're trying. And then you would be shocked and appalled by how quickly that phone stops ringing. It really does. So even if you are dominating at the moment, don't make yourself vulnerable to new competitors. That's my advice, because it's way harder to catch back up than it is to remain dominant. That's kind of what SEO is like, because it can take ages to claw back. Now that concludes our webinar for the day, Jules. I know I would have forgotten something, but anything that I haven't touched on there that you think I should have?
Can you just explain how you measure good results in SEO, and what's considered a goal at the end? What's considered a goal achieved?
Oh, well, the goal is to get as high up the rankings as possible. Requires patience, but also we can see how many people are being brought into your website from that keyword. Well, not exactly from the keyword, but we can see how much organic traffic is coming into the website. And as you see the rankings get better, you see the traffic go up. Like there's no trick there. you get way more traffic with higher rankings. So that's what we go for. We measure, because we measure everything. If you come to someone like us, we measure the rankings, we measure the traffic, we measure the conversions, we measure every single thing that ever happens on your website is measured. And when you get higher rankings, that traffic goes up like you would not believe. It also should mention that if you've got a crappy old website, there's only so much, what's an inoffensive word? There's only so much lipstick you can put on a pig. Is that offensive, Jules? I'm not sure, but
no, that's clear.
Okay. Sometimes you just got to burn down the old website and build a new one, because there's some very dodgy old websites hanging around out there with, 2 megabytes of JavaScript in them that just they make it nearly impossible to SEO. I'd also say that you should aim for WordPress if you possibly can for your CMS. I know other website builders and CMSs are popular. Wix, what's the other one? Squarespace. But if you're really serious about, getting good results from SEO, then and tracking everything, then I would highly suggest that you use WordPress. I know WordPress can have a funny reputation from some people from probably things that happened 10, 15 years ago, but these days it's, if you have someone who knows what they're doing, knows how to use it, then it is the platform that I would recommend.